Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This video will cover the Vykas solo raid guide. If you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And with that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump into the guide. Before we get into the guide itself, I want to remind everyone that every character in your roster will now be able to equip 5 engravings for free. This is permanent for the entirety of Tier 3. This is great for those that want to play alt characters that were not properly built in the past. Just make sure you obtain some accessories that have the correct combat stat for the build you are playing. You can head on over to lostar.nexus website for class build guides to make sure your character is built properly. The Solo Mode Raid shop gives a variety of goodies. Every week from the shop, you can buy honing books and honing materials, in addition to level 6 and level 7 gems that do not expire and cost no silver to reroll. If you are a returning player, you should already have some of this currency if you completed raids in the past. When you enter a raid solo, the game will allow you to select a special buff that lasts throughout the fight. This buff can be changed once you restart the raid or in between gate 1, 2, etc. I recommend that you do not select any buff at all, especially if you're playing a back attack character. For the solo raid guide series, I will only discuss major gimmicks and mechanics. I will also discuss the difference between solo mode and group mode. The battle items you want to bring along for Vykas will be Whirlwind Grenade and Time Stop Potion. If you are lacking damage, you could bring Dark Grenade instead. For the group mode version of Vykas, you would bring Whirlwind Grenade, Time Stop, and Sleep Bomb. In the group mode version of this fight, party members will type out the position they will be going to for the 65 HP line mechanic before entering gate 1. In solo mode, this is not necessary. Those positions are 7-1, 7-2, 11-1, 11-2, 5-1, 5-2, Flex 11-7, and Flex 5-7. This totals to 8 people. 7-1, 11-1, and 5-1 mean that you will go to 7, 11, or 5 o'clock at the start of the 65 mechanic and call out the order of the black orbs that spawn and take the first orb. 7-2, 5-2, and 11-2 mean that you will go to 7, 11, or 5 o'clock and take the second black orb that spawns. Flex 11-7 and Flex 5-7 are responsible for going to whatever clock position has 3 black orbs in total and collect the third one. I will go more in depth regarding this mechanic later on. In Gate 1, Vykas will start off with 160 lines of HP. You will need to burn her down to 145 lines of HP to experience the first mechanic. At 145 or below, Vykas will move to the middle and fly in the air. You will see a line attached to your character and a purple aura surrounding your character. All you need to do is move clockwise. After a few moments, the laser will shoot in your direction. If you keep moving, you will not take any damage. In the group mode version of this fight, you will have to move clockwise with your party and not overlap with each other so that no one gets hit by the laser. If you do this on item level, the laser does a lot of damage. At 120 HP lines or below, the next mechanic will occur. She will move to the middle, then disappear. 3 clones of Vykas will be shown, at the top side, right side, and bottom side of the map. In solo mode, 1 orb will spawn somewhere in the middle of the map. During my testing of this solo mode fight, the orb only spawned at 6 o'clock and 3 o'clock. You need to pick up this orb as soon as you can. Afterwards, you will get an icon above your head. This icon will either be red or purple. You will need to go to the clone that matches the color of this icon above your head. So if you have the red icon, you will go to the red clone. If it is purple, you will go to the purple clone. Stand next to the clone and wait for the map-wide attack. You will be safe as long as you are standing next to the clone. After the attack occurs, you will go to the black clone. Then you will go to the opposite color clone. The order of which clones to go to will always be purple, black, red, or red, black, purple. In the group mode version of this fight, 5 orbs in total will spawn in a cross position in the middle of the map. If you pick up more than 1 orb, you will die. 5 raid members need to pick up these orbs. Look at the icon above the players who collected the orbs and see whether it is 3 purple icons or 3 red icons in total. If it is 3 purple icons, you will go to the purple clone. If it is 3 red icons, you will go to the red clone. After you finish this mechanic, Vykas will reappear in the middle and give you a debuff. In group mode, 2 random players will get the debuff. This debuff is known as the purple orb. You will have a cone telegraph attached to your character. This purple orb needs to be brought to the edge of the map, facing outside. After a few moments, the purple orb will spawn on the ground, wherever you were standing, and face wherever your character was looking. This purple orb will periodically spawn smaller purple orbs that can stun any players that come into contact for a few seconds. In solo mode, this is not much of a problem, but in group mode, if you have the purple orb, It is essential that you bring it to the edge facing outside. Around 90 to 95 HP lines, the boss will do the exact same attack as discussed earlier at 145. A laser will be attached to your character, you will move clockwise. Somewhere around 80 HP lines or below, the boss will move to the middle and perform an attack I like to call the Red Maze. It's essentially a series of attacks that you want to dodge. If you get hit multiple times, you may get the purple orb attached to your character. You can decide to use the Anana Sadril during Red Maze if you have trouble dodging. The Anana Sadril will prevent you from taking damage and knockback. At 65 HP lines or below, Vykas will teleport to the middle then vanish. In solo mode, one black clone will spawn at 7 o'clock. The black clone will show a red or black AoE 5 times in total. Memorize the order in which the black AoEs occurred. For example, in this clip, the first AoE was red, second was black, third was black, fourth was black, and fifth was red. In a moment, the clone is going to spawn 5 black orbs that go towards Vykas, but not all of them are truly black. In this example, the clone did a red AoE the first time and the 5th time. This means the 1st and 5th orb should not be collected since they are technically red. Only the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th orb should be collected in this example. Think of this mechanic as a memory game. You could type out the order using in-game chat if you like. In the group mode version of this fight, you will have to type it out in chat to let everyone know. As an example, 7, 2, 3, 5. This means at 7 o'clock, the 2nd, 3rd, and 5th orb that comes from the clone should be collected. 11, 1, 3, 5. This means at 11 o'clock, the 1st, 3rd, and 5th orb that come from the clone should be collected. 5, 2, 4. This means at 5 o'clock, the 2nd and 4th orb should be collected. In solo mode, you can collect 3 black orbs without any punishment, but if you collect a red orb, you will die. In group mode, you can only collect 1 black orb. Collecting more than 1 will kill you. This is because after collecting an orb, you will get a debuff. The exception is if you use a time stop potion. Let's say the pattern is 2, 3, 4 as an example. You can time stop right before the second one hits you so that you can collect 2 and 3 within the time stop buff, then you can collect 4. In both solo and group mode, if a black orb hits the boss, she will unleash a raid wipe attack that you can time stop, or a support can cast Awakening and shields to prevent death. Once all the black orbs have been collected, Vykas will be staggered on the ground and the mechanic will finish. For the rest of the fight, the only other thing she may perform other than basic attacks is the laser mechanic that we discussed earlier, or the red maze if DPS is lacking. In Gate 2, Vykas will start off with 180 lines of HP. This gate will also introduce the first meter gimmick. You will notice a bar above your character. This is what I call the lust meter. It will only fill up when you get hit by certain attacks. If it fills up above the white line, the bar will turn red and you will get a buff that increases your attack power. If it fills up entirely, you will get charmed. While charmed, you will lose control of your character, and your character will perform random abilities on your action bar. In addition, you are in a PvP state, which means you can attack other party members and potentially kill them. Over time, after being charmed, you will instantly die. In solo mode, however, after you get charmed, you will not die. In group mode, if you notice someone is charmed, you can free them by throwing a sleep bomb on them. Be sure to auto-attack the member to remove the sleep bomb debuff so they can get back into the fight. The sleep bomb effect lasts a long time. There are certain mechanics where you will want to increase your meter, but generally speaking, it is best to avoid her basic attacks so that you do not get charmed. The first major mechanic happens at 170 HP lines or below. However, if you do not get the boss down to 170 HP lines quickly, she may spawn an AoE under your feet. You will need to bring this to the edge of the map, but do not bring it around 9 o'clock. This is because you will need some space for the 170 mechanic. This AoE will drop on the ground wherever you are standing after a few seconds. Stepping in the AoE will fill up your meter, so be sure to avoid it. After some time, the AoE will go away. She may periodically spawn this AoE under your feet throughout the fight. With the exception of one mechanic which I will discuss later on, you will always want to bring it to the edge of the map, do not drop it in the middle. At 170 HP lines or below, the first mechanic will occur. The boss will move to the middle of the map. Her hitbox becomes available before her model is shown, so you can dish out a skill or two, but then you want to quickly move out as an aura will surround her that deals massive damage. You will either get a brown or white AoE beneath your feet. The brown AoE slows movement speed, The white AoE increases movement speed. If you have the brown AoE, you want to drop it at 9 o'clock, preferably near the edge as shown in this clip. If you have the white AoE, you want to drop it away from the brown AoE. I advise top left or bottom left of the map. The idea of this mechanic is to form a bridge at 9 o'clock that slows movement speed. After a moment of stepping into the brown AoE, you will slowly move towards Vykas. The goal is to not touch Vykas, otherwise you may die. If white overlaps with brown, it is a guaranteed death, so it is important to drop the white AoE away from the brown. In group mode, 2 random players will get brown under their feet. One player should be towards the edge, and the other player should be a little bit away so that it forms a bridge. Any other player that has white under their feet will move away. Once the AoE drops on the ground, all players will go to the edge of the brown bridge and slowly move towards Vykas. If done correctly, no one will die. The next major mechanic cap is at 150 HP lines or below. This mechanic does not exist in solo mode, so you can skip this if you want. All members should gather somewhat towards the middle. If no one has red meter, the game will randomly give red meter to at least one player. If you have red meter, you will see multiple swords on the map. If you do not have red meter, you will see multiple clones of Vykas. The goal of this mechanic is to find the right clone. If you go to the wrong clone, you will die. The player with red meter needs to ping all sword locations on the map. Whichever ping matches a clone of Vykas is the correct spot to stand in. There are only 8 patterns for this mechanic, 7 of which you can memorize, with the last one being RNG that requires a player with red meter to ping. I'm going to show a picture on screen now that shows those patterns. The next major mechanic cap is at 135 HP lines or below. A dialog box will be shown and a bunch of red puddles will fly down on the map. Getting hit by them will increase your meter. You will need to quickly go to 12 o'clock, which is top of the map, and interact with the yellow orb. Upon interaction, a yellow AoE will be shown on the ground. Standing in this AoE will decrease your meter. You want your meter to be at 0 before the upcoming cutscene occurs. During this cutscene, you will need to perform a quick typing test 2 times in total. If you succeed the typing test, Vykas will be staggered on the ground, allowing you to deal extra damage. If you fail the typing test, she will gain a shield and do a map-wide attack that does moderate damage. Whether you succeed or fail, she will always fly up in the air after a moment and bombard the map with the inside safe or outside safe line telegraph attack. If the first one is inside safe, the next one will be outside safe. If the first one is outside safe, the second one will be inside safe. After the 2 line attacks, she will land on the ground, shown as a red circle telegraph. Move out to avoid damage. Then she will follow up with another attack where next to her is safe. In group mode, if 4 or more players fail the typing test, it will be a raid wipe. In addition, the shield she gains from a failed typing test will increase based upon the number of failures. This also applies to the map-wide AoE attack that happens afterwards. The damage of that attack will increase based upon the number of failures. 1 to 2 failures does moderate damage, 3 fails will do a lot of damage. Support players should use Awakening and Shield abilities so that players are protected from this attack. The next major mechanic cap is at 120 HP lines or below. Vykas will spawn the red AoE under the feet of a few players. Everyone needs to stack up and stand in the AoE to get charmed. She will then trigger an attack where if you are not charmed, you will die. This is probably one of the easiest mechanics in the game. You will stack up and you will get charmed. That is all there is to it. Now there are scenarios where the red AoE will still be around after the mechanic is finished, and if a player is standing in the puddle, they can instantly get charmed again. If that happens, free the player with the sleep bomb. The next major mechanic cap is at 100 HP lines or below. Vykas will move to the middle and spawn a large red circle in the middle. This attack takes a bit of time to charge up, so you can use a few skills before moving out of the circle. Afterwards, a large red aura will surround Vykas. Standing in this aura will increase your meter. She will also have a stagger bar, in addition to 1 giant frog spawning at the bottom of the map. From my testing in solo mode, the frog only spawned at the bottom, but it could spawn at the top. There are 2 ways I recommend doing this mechanic. You can do what is called the wave frog method, which is a common tactic used in group mode, or you can do the mechanic a different way. Just keep in mind that the wave frog method is basically the only method done in group mode. The wave frog method involves you positioning yourself between the frog and Vykas herself and using the wave saddle. If positioned properly, It will kill the frog and stagger Vykas, which will complete the mechanic. The other way is going to the bottom of the map to quickly kill the frog, then running up to Vykas to complete the stagger check. Whirlwind Grenade is a good choice here if you're almost at full meter, as standing next to Vykas to complete the stagger check will increase your meter since she has a red aura surrounding her. If you fail the stagger check, it is a wipe. If you stagger Vykas but do not kill the frog, you will get charmed, but in solo mode this does not cause a wipe. In group mode, the wave frog method is done at the top of the map. Position yourself between the top frog and Vykas herself and use the wave side reel. Everyone else will go to the bottom of the map to kill the bottom frog. If the way is done properly but the bottom frog does not die, it will be a raid wipe since everyone will be charmed. During this mechanic, I do recommend you get your meter to red by standing in the aura surrounding Vykas, as this will help out with the 55 HP line mechanic. Just be sure to avoid her attack so that you do not get charmed. The next major mechanic happens at 80 HP lines or below. It is the exact same as the 170 HP line mechanic. You will form a brown bridge and slowly walk towards Vykas. The next major mechanic happens at 55 HP lines or below. Multiple tentacles will spawn on the left side, right side, and bottom side of the map. In addition, a lot of red balls will spawn from the middle and move to the outside. These red balls will give you meter, but do not collect too many as you do not want to get charmed. Your goal is to kill the tentacles, but you can only deal damage to the tentacles while you have red meter. I advise saving some of your big damage skills before the mechanic occurs. In solo mode, you will see a lot of tentacles on the map, but you only have to kill 2. This will result in the mechanic being complete. In group mode, party 1 will go to the left side, and party 2 will go to the right side. Each party has to deal with their side, then move towards the bottom and deal with the rest. If even one tentacle is alive before the upcoming cutscene, it will be a raid wipe. Supports can help out here by being on sleep bomb patrol in case anyone gets charmed, and using attack buffs to help players destroy the tentacles. The last mechanic happens at 0 HP lines. However, you want to make sure your meter is low before you trigger this mechanic. Interact with the yellow orb on the left or right side of the map to decrease your meter. However, do not decrease it to 0, otherwise you will not deal sufficient damage to the boss. When the boss reaches 0, she will perform a cutscene, then everyone needs to gather in the middle of the map. Your meter will fill up over time naturally during this phase. Multiple clones of Vykas will appear, and your character needs to look at the real boss. You can tell which one is real by looking at your minimap. After finding the real boss, you can stay in the middle and look at her, or walk up to her and start dishing out stagger immediately. The goal of this mechanic is to deplete the purple stagger bar shown under her HP bar without getting charmed. The solo mode version of this mechanic is the exact same as the group mode version, with solo mode requiring much less stagger. What I recommend as best practice is to walk in front of Vykas the moment you see her on the minimap and dish out stagger. Don't forget your whirlwind grenade. In a moment, a puddle will spawn from the middle of the map and slowly come towards you. This puddle will decrease your meter. Walk a little bit ahead of the puddle so that it can decrease your meter. When the puddle starts going behind the boss, you will also need to go behind the boss. This is because the boss will perform a map-wide attack that will greatly increase meter. The only safe spot is behind her. After a moment, she will fly up in the air and do a familiar attack. She will do an inside and outside safe line telegraph attack. Then she will land in the middle of the map, shown as a red telegraph. It'll be outside safe, then inside safe. Then she will spawn a red aura beneath your feet that you need to drop to the edge of the map. This aura will gradually get bigger in size, so try to place it as far out as you can. Then she will perform a series of attacks that have safe spots in addition to a purple clone. This purple clone will unleash an attack in a moment. You need to look away from the purple clone to avoid damage and meter gain. When she is done with the series of attacks, she will fly back up and repeat the exact same pattern again. Look at the minimap and find the real boss. Walk up to it and deal stagger. When the puddle spawns and moves up towards you, walk a little bit ahead of it to decrease your meter. At this point, the stagger check should be complete and the raid will finish. You can use the wave side reel to finish off the stagger check if you like. And that will be it for the Vykas solo raid guide. I will try my best to release solo mode guides of other raids as soon as I can. If you're a new or returning player, I highly suggest you complete the Legion raids in order starting from Vulcan. As stated at the start of the video, if you enjoyed this guide, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. I will see everyone in the next video. Peace.